Okay, so are you ready to dive in?
Let's do it.
We're taking a deep dive into this manuscript, Master Student. Um, and wow, this also, let me tell you, really goes for it. I mean, they are tackling these huge questions about, life, the universe, reality, everything.
Yeah, it's intense.
Definitely thought-provoking stuff. So think of us as your guides as we unpack all of this.
Yeah, it's kind of like we're getting a peek inside the author's inner thoughts, their journal almost, as they're wrestling with these big concepts and trying to make sense of it all using philosophy and even spirituality.
Totally. It's like overhearing someone's internal dialogue, which is honestly fascinating. Now, one of the first things that jumped out at me was this idea that we're all these students of experience, and we're learning from this master that's like embedded within reality. What do you make of that?
Well, it's a powerful metaphor, and you see it pop up across different cultures and throughout history, too. And what it suggests, really, is that there's this inherent wisdom, like it's woven into the fabric of existence itself. So by paying attention, by being present, we can actually tap into that source of knowledge. You see,
Right.
it's less about, memorizing facts and figures, and it's more about embracing the experience of being alive. Like that's the lesson, the continuous
So it's
lesson.
not just passively watching life go by, this master-student idea. It's about approaching every experience, every moment as a chance for growth, for learning.
Right. Exactly. We become active participants. We're not just along for the ride. And every interaction, every challenge, every bit of joy, it's all valuable. It teaches us something about ourselves, about the nature of reality. And the author, it seems, believes that being this student, it ultimately leads us to our potential. And we achieve this, what they call psychological freedom.
Psychological freedom, I like that. It's about breaking free from those things that hold us back, the limiting beliefs, the self-imposed shackles. It's about becoming who we really are. And to get these ideas across, the author uses some pretty powerful language, almost poetic at times.
Definitely. Metaphors, spiritual concepts. This is someone who is searching, really searching for meaning beyond just, the surface level.
For example, they say the psyche is like, and I'm quoting here, a soul of internal awareness, constantly seeking, quote, underlying consistencies within existence. It's deeper than just saying we want to understand the world.
It is deeper. It's that feeling we all have, wanting to know our place, right? Where we fit in the grand scheme of things. We all crave that deeper understanding. I know I do.
Oh, absolutely.
Have you ever felt that pull, that yearning for something more?
All the time. I think that's what makes this manuscript so captivating. It's not just theory. It's tapping into something we can all relate to, something very human.
And it invites us to go on that journey, our own journey of self-discovery. What are we searching for? What can we learn? And how do we become more aware, more conscious as our lives unfold? It's quite a challenge.
This author, they really seem to believe we've got more power than we realize. Like, we're not just passengers. They even talk about rewiring our mental interface and use the word reinvigorating to describe the process. What do you think they mean by that?
It's like hitting refresh on how you see the world.
I like that.
Because we get so used to seeing things through the same lens, we have these ingrained beliefs and assumptions, these filters. And the author's saying, hey, let's examine those. Let's become aware of how they're shaping our reality.
And it even goes deeper than that. They say etymology is an unveiling of new truths. So even something like words, understanding where they come from, can lead to deeper understanding.
It's true. Words have power, right? Think about it. They carry layers of meaning. And by digging into etymology, you uncover those hidden layers. You get a new perspective on ideas you thought you knew.
So it's not just about language then. The author talks about learning the operating intent of tangible objects. What's that all about?
It's a really interesting idea. Everything around us has a purpose, right? A story. We interact with objects every single day, but how often do we stop and think, what's the essence of this thing? What's its operating intent?
It's like becoming more mindful of our surroundings,
Yeah.
finding the extraordinary in the ordinary.
Yeah. The author says, we are contained in things that we do not understand, and it takes an observant mind to realize what it is we are embossed in. Pay attention. Wake up your senses. There are messages all around us if we just open ourselves up to them.
There's definitely this recurring idea that understanding equals power. And not power over other people, but power over our own lives, over how we react to things.
Exactly. It's about mastery. The author writes, understanding allows the ability to wield the power. When we understand something, whether it's an object or an idea, we're not at its mercy anymore. We can choose how we interact with it, how to use it to our advantage.
This makes me think about how we get stuck in these patterns, in our thinking, our behavior. The other says we superglue concrete energies onto ourselves, creating these self-imposed limitations. How do we break free?
Well, they talk about feeding a totally opposite polarity, basically consciously shifting our focus, our energy, away from those old patterns that aren't working for us anymore, towards something new.
It's like we can rewrite our own programming if we can just pinpoint the beliefs and the habits that are holding us back.
And the most powerful tool we have, our attention. Where we put our attention is where our energy goes, and where our energy flows, our reality takes shape.
They even say thoughts are indeed vehicles. They are physical to the awareness who interfaces with it. That's a lot to unpack. Our thoughts aren't literally cars in our heads, right?
Right, haha. It's a metaphor, but it's a good one. Imagine your mind is like this big landscape. Your thoughts are the vehicles you use to get around. Some are like well-maintained cars. They'll get you where you need to go smoothly. Others, they're like those old clunky trucks that leave you stuck in the mud.
So we can end up driving in circles, stuck in a rut, never really getting anywhere.
Exactly. That's why we've got to be aware of those thought patterns. Where does your mind go on autopilot? Once you're aware, you can start choosing different thoughts, different vehicles. That'll take you somewhere better.
Like that saying, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results.
Exactly. If you want different results, you've got to start by changing your thoughts, your choices, your actions. And that all starts with awareness.
So how do we become more aware? The author says the universe gives us what we already believe about it, which is kind of a big statement, isn't it?
It is, but it also shows just how much power we have. Our beliefs are like magnets. Think about it. If you believe the world is a scary, dangerous place, you're going to find evidence for that everywhere. But if you choose to believe in things like abundance, kindness, and opportunity, you're going to start seeing those things more often too.
Like we're sending out a signal and the world is reflecting it back to us.
Exactly. Want to change your reality? You've got to start by changing your beliefs.
And the author even talks about creating astral templates through visualization, almost like blueprints for the reality we want to experience.
Visualization is powerful. The author's drawing on those ancient wisdom traditions that talk about the power of the mind to shape reality. When you visualize, you're creating images and feelings that match your desired outcome. It's about planting seeds of intention in your mind that can then influence your actions in the real world.
It's amazing how much this author emphasizes our role as creators. Like we're shaping our own reality. It's not about sitting around waiting for good things to happen. We have to align our thoughts, our beliefs, our actions with what we want to experience.
Yeah.
It's all connected.
Yeah, it's like this balance. You've got these forces at play all around us,
Yeah.
right? And we're navigating those currents, but we're also using our own agency to do it. The author talks about the sparking of experience to be is the becoming process of infinity's duration of eternal being.
That's kind of a mouthful.
Yeah, it's a lot. But it's basically saying we're part of something eternal, something bigger than ourselves. And we're actively shaping how it unfolds in our own way. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and it's beautiful too. It's like this cosmic dance. And we're not just individuals. We're part of something so much bigger. And our bodies, our physical experience, that's a key part of it all. The author actually says the doorway to the supreme is within bodily awareness.
Right. We're not just minds floating out there. We're embodied beings. Our senses, our emotions, everything we feel physically, it all matters.
So we need to tap into that, the wisdom of our bodies. Pay attention to what we're feeling instead of just getting lost in our heads.
Exactly. The author even goes as far as to say, the ability to be the essence that constitutes all things is through the embodiment of objects as oneself. It's like, really inhabit your physical presence. Be present in your body.
Be present.
Yeah.
Instead of observing life from a distance, like it's happening to someone else.
Exactly. Bridging that gap between the mind and the body. Because it's all connected. Our physical experience, our spiritual growth, it's all one.
Which is so important these days, don't you think? They're constantly bombarded with information, with distractions. It's easy to lose touch with ourselves, with that inner stillness.
It is. It's really easy to get caught up in all the noise. And the author warns us about that, about emotional escapism through consistent stimulation. We use distractions to avoid looking inward.
It's like it's easier to numb ourselves with entertainment, with social media, with whatever, than it is to face ourselves sometimes.
Of course, we're programmed to seek comfort, right? To avoid pain. But even in the middle of chaos, there's this underlying order. Chaos's unreliability is under divine law, as the author puts it. We're being guided, even when it doesn't feel like it.
So instead of being afraid of the unknown, embrace it. Those
Uh-huh.
tough experiences, those are the ones that change us, that help us grow.
Exactly. And that's where surrender comes in. Not giving up, but letting go of the need to control everything, trusting that there's something bigger at play.
The author talks about approaching every moment without premise, with a beginner's mind.
Yeah.
Basically, be open to whatever comes.
Exactly. Release your expectations. Let yourself be surprised. When you approach life like that with that kind of openness, you make room for new possibilities, new experiences, new insights.
And they talk about how our heads rest in the ideas of our ancestors. Like, we inherit these beliefs from our families, our culture. It shapes how we see the world. But they also challenge us to think for ourselves, to question things, to come to our own understanding of reality.
It's finding that balance, honoring the past, but also having the courage to forge your own path. The author's urging us to be independent thinkers, to question everything.
To become active participants in creating meaning, not just accepting what we've been told.
Exactly. What we identify with is where we lay. The investure of being into a form gives the form life. The energy it abides within and to. The constant working within form perpetuates its momentum even stronger.
Meaning, what we focus on grows. So if we dwell on negativity, on fear, on limitations, we're just giving those things more power. But if we focus on things like love, gratitude, possibility, those qualities will blossom and they'll shape our experiences.
Exactly, and it all circles back to perception. The point within our perception meets the moment is when pure awareness is transformed into psychological meaning, the encapsulation of awareness, as the author writes. Our reality is shaped not by the events themselves, but by how we interpret them.
So two people can go through the same thing but have completely different experiences because of their perception, their beliefs, their way of thinking.
Absolutely. Our sights are suffused within identity, masking the true potential of the experiencer to interface with the reality of chaos. Our sense of self, our ego, it can cloud our vision. It stops us from seeing clearly.
It's like we're wearing blinders.
And the author's challenging us to take those blinders off, to step outside that limited view and tap into something much bigger.
To become the master student of our own lives. Always learning, growing, expanding our awareness.
Exactly. It's a lifelong journey, and it starts with a willingness to explore what's inside, to question everything, and to embrace the unknown.
The author reminds us, everything is said to be found within a place the observer can experience. Everything we're looking for, the answers, the wisdom, it's already within us.
And to tap into that, they offer this. The psyche is the soul. Love is the transcendent function of individual. The essence of materiality is the inward expression of Supreme Being's self-recognition.
We're not just physical, we're spiritual beings having this human experience.
Mhm.
And love is what connects us to everything, to the divine, to each other, to creation itself.
It's a message of hope, of empowerment. You're not alone in this. You have the power to create a life you love, to experience joy, to make a difference in the world.
And the impact we have on others matters. The author even suggests that the people you have a positive effect on is a more important ritual, is a current of energy, rather than searching for superficial means of fulfilling voids.
True fulfillment, it seems, comes from within. Connect with your heart, extend that love and compassion outward, and make a difference. That's what really matters.
We are all interconnected, a ripple effect. Every act of kindness, no matter how small, makes the world a better place.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into Master Student, let's remember, the universe gives us what we already believe about it. What reality are you creating today? With your thoughts, with your actions, with your beliefs? What are you putting out there?
That's something for us all to think about. What kind of world do we want to live in? It's a journey of exploration and growth, the journey of a master student, and it's a journey we're all on together.